Hi, my name is Stella Martin, and again, I'm one of the mothers that's living with the toxic landfill out in Palinville, New York. Earlier, I posted a video speaking about the extreme lengths that many individuals have gone to keep this toxic landfill a secret and keeping it from the toxic exposures and contamination from being truly told, which unfortunately keeps my children from getting the health care that they so desperately require, where both families, both of us can't get the attention that we desperately need, not just with the DEC and Department of Health falsifying actual water test results, but that they've manipulated physicians and things, because if the toxins showed up in our bodies and in my children, I mean, then we would have what they have called, I guess, a smoking gun. Also through the landfill site, we posted some of the other types of harassment and punishment that we continue to get. Myself, I get in many different forms. We have myself and the mother on the other side have a slap suit, a defamation slap suit against us from the landfill owner. It was what they said, a strategic lawsuit imposed on us to keep us quiet from speaking out about the landfill and what it was doing to us. Another one I posted was about the town of Catskill and Greene County, what they're doing to harass me. I posted a couple months ago that I have code violations. I got these. This has been going on for a while now, November 3rd, 2015. At that point, one of them is having a two-family dwelling without a special use permit, and that's because I just happen to have a downstairs, and a friend of mine has been really concerned about my family, and because we actually had for nearly 2 years, there are 2 to 3 people on the business property, a landfill property next to us. 2 to 3 people would go there when the sun went down up until the sun came up, all through the night, doing what they could, making noises to keep my dogs awake, keep them barking, throw stuff on my property, whistles. There's an actual app that you can get on your phone. It's called Sounds to Annoy Dogs. I ended up having to put web cameras up on my house, and it caught a lot of the recordings. Hear people snoring through the night, and the sounds and throwing things, which is very sad for us, because my kids would get woken up at all hours of the night, and they actually still have nightmares from that. So a friend of mine is very concerned for the safety of my kids, especially when gunshots started going off through the nights and the sheriff's department wouldn't help us. So he was simply staying there. He just happened to kind of need a place, and I had a place, and my kids felt secure with him there. So because he was there, they were trying to call it a two-family dwelling. They were also saying that there was work done without a building permit downstairs, whereas I've been paying as a 2-story family house, a ranch-style house, the entire time. I took this house over from my ex-husband. I paid it all off, and the back taxes that rode, and it came to me. Before me, I was raising my kids. I don't know much about codes and permits. I didn't know anything about that. You know, as a wife, you're just going along. You figure your husband is taking care of that. But there was already work that was done down there before I moved in, and before I'd even moved in with him. So they were saying that, and with that, we had to, myself and the other neighbors had to hire attorneys. Number one, we had to hire the attorneys to force the town to make the landfill owner get permits for his 3 businesses that he had been operating for nearly 10 years from this property without any town or county permits. All he had was a tiny DEC permit to accept leaves and grass, and for his composting business. When we went through the site plan review process, we were actually told that all 3 of his businesses were not even zoned for this area. I mean, especially the illegal dumping that had taken place for so many years. But it wasn't even zoned, and however, the town of Catskill still gave him some permits with only a small amount of restrictions, which he still doesn't abide by. And the code enforcer, the town attorney, the supervisor for the town of Catskill, nobody will uphold the laws and enforce the restrictions that were put on this business. And they were put there to try and help protect the families surrounding it better. And but the restrictions were still so minimal. I mean, they don't even make him have a sprinkler system to water down all this dust. I have hundreds of videos of all this dust coming at my house. And I was told by many physicians, seeing the videos, that not even a healthy adult with perfect lungs would be able to withstand that amount of dust. And that's what my kids were outside playing in. And it's also the dust from all this construction debris that was dumped. But so the town of Catskill, it really wouldn't uphold their laws to protect us. So anyway, I have code violations for these things, but this toxic landfill with 3 businesses that are in zone for this area, he operates as he desires and has no violations at all. So here I am. I'm now disabled from the many health ailments that's impacted my life. Trying to take care, go through with my sick kids, battling this monstrosity of manipulations and just many things, and I'm the one with code violations. So with that, we had attorneys, and I did enter into a contract with the Elliot Fishman, the code enforcement officer, whereas he had said the reason why he felt it was a two-family dwelling was because downstairs I happened to have a broken stove that was down there for storage. And that's all there was. It didn't even work. There was no 220 electric line for it. It was not operational at all. But so he had said to dismiss, go through these code violations. This is what I needed to do. I needed a CEO certificate from a New York State licensed engineer stating that the septic tank was the size enough for the 3-bedroom house as it is. Then also a CEO certification from a New York State licensed professional engineer that all the work had been was performed in compliance with the laws and such. I also agreed, and this is what Mr. Fishman, the code enforcement officer, and the town attorney had. This was what they wanted from me, and then I agreed to these. Then they also wanted me to pay for the cost of a building permit and go through the building permit process. And I had to remove the oven, the stove that was downstairs as storage. What else? And then the inspection, and that I needed. I also had to pay for a New York State electrician to come in and certify all the electric had been done. I went through, I paid for an engineer to come out, and I got the paperwork for that, stating that the very bottom is that it is our opinion the work was completed in substantial conformance with the codes in effect at the time of construction, stated that the septic tank is the size 1,000-gallon concrete septic tank, sufficient size to accommodate the flow for the three-bedroom residence. So I had gotten the information I needed from the engineer that was requested. I also went through and I got the electrical engineer. I paid for him. I paid for that to happen. I also went and I did the application for the building permit, and I did everything that needed to do, and I paid for that. And then I needed Mr. Fishman to come and do the walkthrough, and he chose not to until at the time when they heard I had to let go of the attorneys we previously had, and number one, I couldn't keep affording it either, is I got these new code violations, and that I needed to be November 3rd in town court. And I got these papers, and I had I believe, 4 business days that I had to be in town court before the town court judge, who is not a real estate agent, who is not a real attorney for real estate. He is town judge, and I believe the town judges here, they actually don't even need any legal background to be a judge. So I had 4 days to be in court. I was there, and within or at that time, I was then told and given a court order that I had to allow Mr. Fishman into my home, which was the next Tuesday, of just a very short couple days later. It was an actual court order that I had allowed this guy in my house. And I had asked, I don't think this is the correct process. Like, don't I get to have an attorney? And I said, it was already, I did everything they had asked by the engineer and everything. And he said, well, this is what I want to do. And I said, well, he said it's a 3-bedroom house. And the code enforcement officer tried to argue that it wasn't. And however, there are laws, real estate laws, that a bedroom has to be a certain size. It has to have a certain size window, has to have a closet. Well, I mean, how obnoxious the judge was. He actually said, no, a bedroom is what I say it is, and if it can fit a bed in it, then it's a bedroom. Well, do you know how many real estate agents would love to hear that? So I had a court order, and I had to let these people into my house very short time later. And when I asked for an attorney at the very first day of court, he didn't stop. He did a court order. And so next thing I know, these 2 code enforcement officers come to my house with the sheriff's department, and they're walking through and taking photos of every room of my house, and which isn't even part of the code violations they were asking for, but they already had all of the information that they had asked for. All they needed was a walkthrough, which a walkthrough, they don't go around taking photos of every single thing. With these photos, what they did next was compile what they believed to be more code violations that had nothing to do with the original ones at all. I still haven't even gotten the building permit that I went through all that trouble for. So today I went there, and it was all new issues. And the issues they kept bringing up had nothing to do with any of the original ones. And the judge himself, within about 5 minutes after I was trying to give proof, he says, no, we're going to condemn your house. Your house is condemned, and it starts 1 week from today, March 4th. Your house will be condemned. I know you have a friend who's staying there, which I do. My friend is still there, because we're very aware with the small town kind of country people these are, is that my house, I'm sure, will be ransacked at some point, if not burned down to the ground. And a friend of mine has been trying to stay there until I can get all of my stuff out. So now they're telling him he's got to go within a week, and that nobody can go there, or they said nobody can live there, so it's $500 fine a day. So something that all it was getting the building permit for something I didn't even do, but I went through, I paid all the money to do it all. The judge ends up, and a judge that says a building or a bedroom is where you can fit a bed in it, has now stated my house is condemned. There is no reason for this. My home is not a hazard. The engineer has walked through my house numerous times. It was another form of punishment and harassment that this town of Catskill still forces me to endure. And it is so hard for me to wrap my head around this, of what they don't understand. I didn't start this. All I was doing is I bought my house, I made a home, I'm raising my kids, and then I realized what's happening next door. And people are dumping toxic debris next door to my house. I noticed my kid's sick. I'm sick. This is in wetlands. This is killing the trees and everything around it. And because I stand up and I fight about that, I've had to leave my home, being told that the toxic exposure is killing me and it's killing my children, after witnessing the neurological damage happening in my children. So I'm in trouble because I'm taking a stand, and I'm saying anything about it, saying that this is not right to do to people. I'm trying to find attorneys to help. I do have, I'm gaining support in many areas, but the entire time I'm fighting agencies who are supposed to protect us. That's in their job title. I mean, it's their title, Department of Environmental Conservation, Department of Health. And instead of helping us, I'm having to figure out what their next lie is. I mean, I have so much proof of the false testing, the DEC investigators lying under oath, lying to our faces, manipulating the entire investigation. And I'm the one being punished. Now I don't know what to do from here, but I know I had mentioned that I had court today at 1 o'clock, and a lot of people were wishing me well. Some had asked about how it went, so there was no reason for my house to be condemned whatsoever. And like I said, it's just another form of punishment. It's strange how these people believe that everybody is on their side, that they believe in what they're doing, that it's okay to cover up contaminated properties like this, but there are people who don't agree with it, and they talk quietly to other people. And from what I heard is that this was what was going to happen anyway, that they're trying to do whatever they can to shut me up and punish me. But I'm getting to the point, what else do I have to lose? I owned my house outright. We can't live there. My kids are permanently damaged from this. They don't have a fair shot at life. They're supposed to be learning instead of struggling. I'm dumbfounded by the amount of punishment these people feel I deserve when I didn't start this. I'm reacting to it, but I didn't start this. And it baffles me that they believe it's okay. So I wanted to let people know what happened today. My house got condemned by the Town of Catskill for no reason whatsoever. And a total illegal process of them coming on my property. Sorry, my dog. It's illegal to do to people. And this is what is happening in the Town of Catskill, Greene County, upstate New York, to people who speak out about people poisoning their children. But I would hope I don't deter anybody from doing that. I can't see how I can just get up and walk away. I don't know what else to do, but we are praying for attorneys to please help us. To me, it just, all of the lies and deceptions and these lengths that all these people are going, it just continues to prove to me that it's that bad here. I've seen what just the dust can do to a human child. The neurological damage, my son's eyes start rolling back in his head and off to the sides. Seizure activity, sores, mouth sores, stomach problems, major headaches. There's a lot. But this is what happens if you fight for your family. Anyway, I don't want to ramble. Thank you all, and hope everyone has a good evening. Thank you very much for listening.